Good evening, everyone. I have read your strategic planning literature review papers and provided feedback in the rubric. If you felt daunted by this assignment, that's because it's challenging. One of the challenges I think in this assignment is the complexity of you reading multiple articles about a topic and then being asked to do more than summarize. In your paper, you were asked to compare and contrast, and that's a type of analysis. That's you being able to look at 3 to 5 articles or 3 to 5 sources and being able to find common things that they had that were related to one another, and then being able to turn it on its ear and look at the things and the individual author's approach to the topic and see how they're different. I think we naturally drift towards finding common themes because that lends itself to summarizing. As a graduate student, we're asking you to take it one step further. We're asking you to really consider thinking about not only how things are similar, but also how they're different. The contrasting piece, I think, is pretty challenging. So if you were able to navigate that well, I'm very impressed. I was so excited when I read many of your papers and saw that you were being brave and you were using level 1, level 2, and level 3 headings. And not only were you using them, you were using them correctly. This is not easy. So if you were brave and you navigated the waters and you used level 1, 2, and 3, I'm super proud of you. If you're still putting your toes in the water and still practicing the use of level headings to organize your writing, I'm going to encourage you to think about really using those levels to organize your writing and to guide your reader. As a graduate level writer, you do need to be fluid with using appropriate level headings to organize your paper. This is a paper that really did lend itself to level 1 and 2 at least, and then possibly 3 depending on how you chose to organize your paper. So again, if that was something that you weren't really comfortable with yet, know that as a graduate student writer that you are expected to write effectively with your level headings. You guys are doing a great job with your reference list. You are well organized. So many of you used combined in-text citations and you used them appropriately. You placed multiple authors who agreed on the same topic in a combined paragraph and you put them in alphabetical order. This is tough stuff. So not only, did we throw you a curveball and ask you to think analytically and synthesize a pretty complex topic like strategic planning, then we asked you to do the magic of APA at a more high level. So if you were successful in this assignment, well done. If you wobbled a little bit, that's okay. This is tough. So make sure you read the feedback that's been provided. Make planned changes for your next assignment so that you're always looking for a way to improve your writing, to improve your analytical skills in doing research. You're growing. We don't expect you to know everything now, but we do want you we want to see progress. So one of your classmates did such a lovely job of connecting our concept of strategic planning with the Christian worldview. Your classmate Dawn wrote this. Dawn wrote, the plan and its fit with the organizational mission must be communicated to staff, as well as other stakeholders who will be affected by the implementation of the plan. This will create buy-in among the staff. In Luke chapter 14, verses 28 through 32, in 2 separate parables, Jesus encourages his disciples to count the cost of following him before they decide to do so. Similarly, the wise leader will make sure that the plan being created is possible to implement and that the necessary finance, equipment, and personnel are available to increase the likelihood of success before the plan is implemented. And she followed with 2 in-text citations. Dawn did a beautiful job of reminding us that Jesus was probably the best strategic planner out there. In the parable that is written in Luke, he's talking about the plan to build a tower, or the other one was to go into battle, and he was telling the disciples, you wouldn't do either one of those without really thinking through the implications, without really thinking through the process in doing that. This is great advice for strategic planning in a leadership role. You need to remember that people are following you and that a strategic plan needs to be thoughtful and well integrated and well supported. Otherwise, you as the leader are going to be leading people into a lion's den or into failure, and that's going to be reflective on you, and you'll harm your team. So having a really good plan is so important. What we know, what research tells us, is that nursing, when we look at organizational change, we'd love to think that we're great strategic planners, but the truth is we stink at it. Most of nursing change is done by what we call drift. It occurs just sort of this natural pull of business culture, of patient demands. We respond to complaints, so we make changes. We respond to new ideas, so we make changes. We're not good about going back through and strategically thinking about, if I make this plan, how does that align with my organizational mission and vision? How does it align with my own ethics, my own values? Can I be congruent in these changes when I'm implementing them? We need to be better about this. So I love this assignment that really does make us think about how are we going to be strategic in doing this. So really, really good ideas you guys had out there. Found some great articles. So enough said. Let's talk real briefly about next week. You have two assignments. The first one is a brief paper about having you consider how the concept of power aligns with your Christian worldview. Folks, this is a 2-3 page paper. I want you to be thoughtful about it, but I do not want you to get tangled up in making this a very long, lengthy paper. The idea is to have you think critically about what power is. Find some good resources that talk about organizational power and what that looks like for nursing, and then spend some time thinking about how do you feel about power as it relates to the Christian worldview. Is it congruent? Or are you in conflict with that? It is so important in papers like this to be concise, because it's soft and squishy. You can get lost in it and you can start writing and writing and writing, and then you wander and wind up telling me 5 to 7 pages about your personal opinion about power. This is a great opportunity to practice concise writing. So that's my goal for you. Your annotated bibliographies are 10 to 15 sources. They should be scholarly sources. You're going to avoid books, websites, editorials, commentaries. These are really good scholarly, peer-reviewed research sources. You're going to put in an appropriate APA citation. Then under it, you're going to do a 50-word or so brief summary. Tell me briefly, the author says this was their finding, and move on. Treat it just like a reference list. Put them in alphabetical order. On the Ask the Discussion board, someone asked, but Dr. Hudgens, we only need 5 to 7 for our paper. I know. The idea is to have you really think about the topic of Christian nurse leadership. And to write effectively, you need to do a deep dive. So you're going to pull at least 10, I wouldn't do any more than 15 articles on this topic, and you're going to really get comfortable, really get familiar with the topic. And then when you begin to write, you may only use 5 to 7 of the ones that you selected. You may choose to make some adjustments and maybe add a new one that isn't on your reference list. The idea in this assignment is to get you really thinking about Christian nurse leadership. So know that that this, again, be very organized, be diligent, find your articles. I would archive them. If you were a electronic person, put them all in a folder. Do your annotated bibliography, but hang on to those articles so you're not having to research them the next time when you're getting ready to write your paper at the end of the course. Just put them in a folder somewhere. I personally don't tell anybody, but I print everything. I don't print your stuff because I'm good with the computer, but if I have to read a journal article and I need to really think about it, I'm 45. I've got to put my hands on paper. I just do so much better if I can leaf through it and highlight it. Some of you will find that I will highlight your paper electronically. I do that in real paper. So whatever your method is, print them, store them, do something to organize those articles so you're not spending a lot of time refinding them for the use later on in the course. Okay, I think I have hit all of my highlights. Know that if you have questions or concerns, reach out and touch base. I'm happy to discuss any feedback, especially if my feedback's not clear. know that I'm here. My primary goal is that you are growing, you're developing, and you're learning new ways of looking at things, and that you're being challenged to grow and to develop not only in your writing but also in your professional thinking, in your critical thinking, especially as it relates to nursing leadership. As you can see from the puppies behind me, it is nap time around here. This is what we call pre-sleep. Um, if I was not talking, you could hear Madeline snoring. She's over my left shoulder. She's the big puppy. So I'm going to say goodnight to you so that I can go snuggle the puppies. If you guys have questions or concerns, I'm here. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you are and whatever you were doing for Thanksgiving, that your week is filled with blessings and that you are thoroughly surrounded by people that love you and like you, and hopefully are cooking for you. Know when I count my blessings this week, folks, I'm counting you. I'm here. Stay in touch. Take care.